You're watching the news on Magic Breaks now. I'm Amita Balachandra. Let's take a look at the top headlines. Budget session kicks off in the parliament. All eyes on FM Jaitley. Will the government make Indian middle class happy?
The effort should be made to reduce the professional taxes and the service taxes which are levied upon the medical professionals. That needs to be done so that the common man benefits from that.
I don't think he should be taxing Provident Fund because that is a cushion after our retirement.
Chorus grows for bigger allocations for women's safety, mass transport systems, middle class housing and tax ops for the middle class. And just a day away from Budget 2017, Mumbai's killer locals claims another life. Now Mumbai demands SOPs this budget for better rail safety. And Apex Court refuses stay on the new Jallikattu law passed by Tamil Nadu Assembly. The Supreme Court also slams the state government for the Jallikattu protests. Straight up to our top news here on Magic Bricks now. In a twist to the Makkal movement, an update on the Jallikattu law. The Supreme Court has refused to stay the new Jallikattu law passed by the Tamil Nadu Assembly. The Supreme Court has further slammed Tamil Nadu for the massive protests held at Marina Beach in Chennai, seeking to legalize a controversial bull taming sport. Now, the top court has warned the state to not repeat it. The court has also issued a notice to Tamil Nadu government and sought reply within 6 weeks on the new act. Let's listen in to what Subramaniam Swamy has to say about this.
Today the Supreme Court considered the Jallikattu matter once again in view of the challenge to the Tamil Nadu legislation. The court accepted the central government's plea that the notification to 2016 be withdrawn and decide to hear the matter afresh in the light of this new legislation passed by the Tamil Nadu Assembly. My intervening application number 15 was also accepted for arguments, and the matter will be, after all the pleadings are complete, the hearing will take place. It was also made clear on my clarification, seeking clarification, that the state of Maharashtra and the state of Karnataka will also have to work under the 2014 judgment unless they, like Tamil Nadu, also bring a legislation which
SC refuses to stay on Jallikattu there, something that we'll keep a very close watch on here on Magic Bricks now. Meanwhile, it's day one of the budget session with the government making yet another appeal at the opposition to let the House function without disruptions with note ban. Still a huge point of contention between the government and the opposition. Prime Minister Modi and the government have a huge obstacle to overcome. Earlier, President Pranab Mukherjee hailed the government's demonetization drive in his address to the parliament at the budget session. Listen in.
Recently, in the fight against black money and corruption is remarkable. The same spirit has driven the LPG Give It Up campaign. Over 1.2 crore consumers have voluntarily given up their LPG subsidy, which has helped the underprivileged in accessing LPG connections. This Jan Shakti has transformed Swachh Bharat mission into a Jana Andolan. 1.4 lakh villages, over 450 cities, 77 districts and 3 states have declared themselves open defecation free. My government salutes the strength of Jan Shakti and pledges to constructively utilize it in Rashtra Nirman. At the core of all my government's policies is the welfare of the Garib, Dalit, Pirit, Shoshit, Vanchit, Kishan, Shramik and Yuva. My government has taken bold decisions in the interest of the poor. Honourable members, to combat the evils of black money, corruption, counterfeit currency and terror financing, the government took the decision on 8th November 2016 to demonetize all 500 and 1000 rupee currency notes. My government's very first cabinet decision was to set up an SIT on black money. The passing of black money, undisclosed foreign income and assets, and imposition of Tax Act 2015, Benami Transactions Prohibition Amendment Act 2016, amendments to treaties with Singapore, Cyprus and Mauritius to prevent misuse of provisions in such treaties for tax evasion and movement of black money in India, and the Taxation Amendment Act providing for Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana have together resulted in a comprehensive policy-backed initiative. My government is making Nari Shakti an integral part of our development journey. Our women deserve equal opportunity. The Rio Olympics, where we took great pride in the performance of P.V. Sindhu, Sakshi Malik, Deepa Karmkar and others, illustrates the strength of our women. Women are being inducted in combat streams of our armed forces. The nation is proud of its first 3 women fighter pilots. This reminds us of what we can achieve as a nation if women are fully empowered and if their skills and talent are optimally utilized. The Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme that addresses the issue of declining child sex ratio is yielding encouraging results.
Prime Minister Modi, meanwhile, also called for a constructive session, urging the opposition to allow the House function smoothly. Listen in.
पिछले दिनों सभी राजनीतिक दलों के साथ सामूहिक रूप से, वैयक्तिक रूप से लगातार चर्चा हुई है। सत्र का सर्वाधिक उपयोग जनहित के लिए हो, सार्थक चर्चा हो, बजट की भी बारीकी से चर्चा हो। मैं सभी राजनीतिक दलों से मेरा विश्वास है कि वे इस बार सदन को उत्तम चर्चा के साथ जनहित के काम को आगे बढ़ाने में उपयोग करेंगे।
Also listen in to some political reactions coming in on the budget session.
देखिए, इकोनॉमी तो डे बाय डे खराब हो रही है। कल ही हमारे नेता फॉर्मर प्राइम मिनिस्टर और फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर चिदम्बरम जी दोनों मिलके प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में किए। उसमें उन्होंने स्पष्ट बताया है कि देश की आर्थिक स्थिति ठीक नहीं है और जीडीपी भी घटने वाला है। और ये सिर्फ हमारा ही तर्क नहीं है, इवन वर्ल्ड बैंक और दूसरे आर्थिक जो संस्थाएं हैं वो संस्थाएं भी यही कह रही है कि देश की आर्थिक स्थिति दिन पे दिन बिगड़ती जा रही है। ये इकोनॉमिक सर्वे पे भी उभर कर आएगा।
You must understand that in the last railway budget, the roadmap for 5 years have already been presented. So even though the railway budget has been merged with the main budget, but it's not going to be a big task, as you say, because that the roadmap is very clear. The total outlay has been already announced in the last budget, and the bifurcation for where the allocation will go for each activity has also been laid out in the last budget itself. So I don't think that it is going to be a difficult task. And yes, after the demonetization, people's expectation is that there will be something for everyone, and that is a challenge for every government every time they present budget, and particularly this budget will be a very high expectation budget from, if you think people of India will expect something for everyone. So from that standpoint, yes, it could be a big task for the Honorable Finance Minister, the government, but away from that, all the parameters which you see that the economy has shown, I think we'll be able to deliver a very good budget to everyone's expectation, and we will be able to satisfy the people of India as a whole.
Meanwhile, a day ahead of the Union Budget, Chief Economic Advisor Arvind Subramanian presented the Economic Survey 2017. The survey has red-flagged demonetization's impact on projects. That note ban is likely to cause a big dent on financial year 2017 GDP growth, which it expects at 6.5%. However, the survey noted that demonetization would have long-term benefits.
Real estate, on the other hand, you do see a dip in prices, in sales, in launches, and of course, some of it may be adverse for the economy, but in the long run, some of that is also good, because in equilibrium, the aim of demonetization is, in fact, to bring down real estate prices. I think it is likely to increase financial system savings, because in equilibrium we expect that cash to GDP and cash deposits should decline. Corruption couldn't be expected to decline. Black money similarly. I think already you see the increase in digitalization of the economy. You can also see early evidence that real estate prices have come down. In the long run, all these measures should improve GDP and tax collection.
On to some news from the city of Mumbai now. Overcrowding in the local trains claimed a life while leaving another commuter injured. Both men fell off a crowded second-class compartment of a Virar-Borivali local, one after the other near Vasai on Monday. This incident has put the issue of overcrowding in trains again in the forefront, which needs to be addressed in the upcoming budget, which will, for the first time, will include budget for railways as well.
More than 6,000 deaths and 25,000 people are injured every single year after falling from trains because of overcrowding. And the numbers have reasonably gone up in the past 1 year. These are the latest statistics as per the RTI inquiry. In fact, what we also understand, just before the budget, another horrifying incident was reported here in Vasai, where two men they fell down from an overcrowded train which they boarded from Vasai. And of course, what we understand at this point is that one was severely injured and another person died on the spot after falling from the train. And this just happened before the budget. And when we spoke to citizens across the city, what they in fact tell us is that the government, the railway minister this time around, should focus more on the security and safety of the passengers, which has been not really paid attention to for a very long time. For instance, to increase the frequency of the trains, to increase the additional coaches from 12 cars to 15 cars. That's one of the long-standing demand that the citizens, the daily commuters have at this point. And in fact, what they tell us is that security and safety is the top priority. But other than that, having AC local trains, that was also one of the long demand that the railway minister had promised, but that also has not yet happened. So just in this upcoming budget, the commuters, the daily commuters, what they just expect is safety, security for the passengers, and of course AC local trains, automated doors and cleanliness. These are the top expectations that the citizens have from this upcoming rail budget. This is Isha Shah for Magic Bricks Now.
In the meantime, with the Union Budget 2017 just a day away, what do people like you and me expect from it? Post-demonetization, the last 50 days has particularly been harsh on traders and businessmen. The government's note ban was not only hard-hitting, but also resulted in their businesses going down by nearly 70%. Not surprisingly then, these traders are expecting quite a number of sops from the government in the Union Budget. Aishwarya Palawal went to Taloja and caught up with a couple of them.
They should bring down the prime lending rate and by at least 2%, and that should be immediately transferred to the customer. There also is a big view on that there should not be any transaction tax on any e-payments, which if I have a tenor, because earlier all the transactions were happening on cash basis, and for say let us suppose 100 rupee tenor, I am getting worth 100 rupees. So now if I am using a credit card, debit card, or I am using Paytm or whatsoever, then again there should be no transaction cost in that. Further, the industry is run by various loans which are given, whether it is home loan, whether it is term loan, whether it is cash credit. All these loans, the repayment should be postponed for at least 2 months without any interest and penalty, because the whole cycle has been disturbed, the process has been disturbed, and I think the government by this budget will have to come out with sops like this to the common man, so that they again come back to what it was earlier.
I'll ask you, sir, what are the 3 points that you would want from the government in this budget, so that again the economy can be back on its feet, especially after demonetization?
डिमांड एक तो आनी चाहिए, उसके लिए इनको इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वगैरह जो कर रहे वो उनको ज़्यादा बढ़ावा देना चाहिए स्टील सेक्टर के हिसाब से. कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स जो है वो उन्हें कम करना चाहिए, क्योंकि वैसे भी इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस और बाकी और टैक्सेस भी काफ़ी इन लोग ले लेते हैं हमसे.
For us, we basically expect that some taxes should go down. We are into the corporate tax rates currently being at 30% plus surcharge is not suitable to the industry in this stage. We would like that to come down to a substantial level of about 25% for us to sustain in the longer run. That is the basic expectation that we have, and some more ease of doing businesses that is what is required over here.
So do you think that right now there is not that much of a ease of doing business, and also
it is improving over the time, but it has not come up to what we expect. There should be more clarity about what things are, like what we are expecting tomorrow to come in. That should be more clear on paper today.
The tax-paying middle class, in the meantime, is not far behind. Salaried professionals hope this Union Budget 2017 will not hurt their pockets even further, especially after the government's note ban. Now, I caught up with a couple of working professionals. Listen in.
I think the cost of living, the cost of expenses, medical, healthcare is so exorbitant today that 2.5 lakhs seems so paltry. Minimum he has to do is about 5 to 6 lakhs when he has to keep it free of tax.
She mentioned that healthcare, of course, has become very expensive in a day and age when we talk about affordable healthcare. You're from the medical industry. Tell us, in terms of tax deductions, what are you expecting?
The effort should be made to reduce the professional taxes and the service taxes which are levied upon the medical professionals. That needs to be done so that the common man benefits from that. Well, that's one thing. Second thing is, in order to recover, in order to prevent diseases, in order to prevent the problems that arise due to toxins such as alcohol and tobacco, that needs to be targeted.
All right. Sir, you are an investor yourself. In terms of investments, do you think this time around the government is going to focus more on pension schemes?
I think the pension funds, the amounts in the 80GG category, where the people are investing due to the demonetization, most of the money is back in the system now. So that 1.5 lakhs, it can go up to 2.5 or 3 lakhs. That is my expectation, being a businessman, and I have to invest money in the schemes to avoid the taxes. So I think that limits will go up.
Now, of course, we've been talking about deductions, tax deductions in various industries, but do you think it's time the government simplifies the entire tax process?
No, absolutely. The online tax filing is already there in place, but it is too complicated. Today, if a normal layman has to file his income tax online, it's next to impossible. And gather larger people in the net.
We've spoken about deductions for pension schemes and broadening the tax base itself, but tell me this, do you think the government is going to play it safe this time around and not tax the Provident Fund? Because the last time they did that, it was a rude shock for several salaried professionals.
I don't think he should be taxing Provident Fund, because that is a cushion after our retirement. I mean, that is the only thing we save and we don't touch throughout our working life. So if he taxes that, God help him.
Right. There you see working professionals there. The biggest key takeaway, of course, is that the government introduces a simpler tax regime along with all of the deductions for several industries. This is Amita Balachandra for Magic Bricks Now. Senior citizens, on the other hand, have several demands up their sleeve as well, the biggest being affordable healthcare and increasing basic tax exemption limit. Here's a special report. The year 2016 has been a challenging year for the Indian middle class, especially senior citizens. With the government rolling out several policy changes, including the much-debated note ban, senior citizens were at the receiving end of most of the short-term pain. It's not surprising then that seniors expect this year's budget to bring in relief. The biggest demand seems to be increasing the basic exemption limit and increasing focus on affordable healthcare.
Health is an important issue, and medical claim policies are given only for citizens, senior citizens below 65. I think there should be no age limit for that. It has to be without any age, because as you grow older, you fall sick, so there should not be any age limit. So these two are very important issues, I would think.
If a senior citizen has to go through a operation, major operation, straight away government should offer 50% on a major operation. I'm not saying day to day.
Most of the senior citizens Magic Bricks Now spoke to were not government employees during their tenure, meaning they have no access to regular pension post-retirement. And as interest rates go south, the most common demand hence was removal of taxes on fixed deposit. This is considered as interest income and is taxable post 3 lakh rupees.
As far as the FDs are concerned, they are deducting 10%. This 10% should go away for senior citizens. It should be free. They should not tax on FDs any senior citizens.
Apart from these basic demands, seniors also expect transport allowances this time around.
Central government could give a amount to the transport authorities in the cities to allow them to give, say, maybe free transport to senior citizens, or maybe 50% off, or whatever they can manage.
In a nutshell, senior citizens expect the government to consider them as assets and not liabilities. This is Amita Balachandra for Magic Bricks Now. In the meantime, on the eve of Budget Day, Times Network continued its initiative to promote and remonetize the India movement. With the government firmly rolling out the remonetization process, cash has started to flow at the banks and ATMs.
On the eve of Budget Day, Times Network continued its initiative to promote Remonetize India movement. With the government firmly rolling out the remonetization process, cash has now started to flow at the banks and ATMs. But our message to you, the citizen, is go cashless. Make this cash available for those in need, like people in villages, farmers, and marginalized citizens. To promote this message, Times Network organized a bike rally in Mumbai. Kicking off for the western suburb of Mumbai, 40 volunteers signed up to spread this unique message.
Hello and welcome to Times Network's Go Cashless Rally, an enthusiastic bunch of bikers here, around 26 in number, who are out there to spread the message of going cashless. What is the need of withdrawing money from an ATM and then going and making purchases when that same money can be used in rural areas where it is needed the most? Instead, Kirana stores that already provide digital options of payments can be used instead. That is the message that these bikers will be sending out today as they make their way from here in Malad, in northern Mumbai, through the streets and all towards South Mumbai. That is the message that is coming out from the bikers. Join me as we take you along as we spread out the good word on remonetization.
And I think this is a great initiative by the Times Network, and we're very happy to be part of this initiative. The motive behind this initiative is that a lot of cash is being transacted within the city, which is more required in rural areas where they earn their livelihood through cash transactions only. But I think in the cities we can work with cashless facilities because we got mobile wallets and we can transact through debit cards and all.
The bike rally made its way through the suburbs of Mumbai, stopping en route several ATMs, spreading the word that in urban areas people should make use of more digital transactions and not withdraw money unnecessarily from ATMs.
I support Times Network Remonetize India movement. I would say we should not spend that much of cash because we have our cards and we have our mobile phones which we use day in and day out. We should use digital money instead of using cash, because cash is required out there in the rural areas where everything is not that influenced with network and all of that.
As young volunteers made pit stops, the message was being driven home and the citizen has responded.
Actually, if you are going to the cashless, the things and all, so it is better for our economic, the economic which is going on through. Right. So if you are going through cashless, so it's better for our economic, and in future whenever we don't have any cash, as you have seen in the ATM, lots of lines and all. So it's better we can go through cashless.
Times Network continues its on-ground activities to drive home the message of Go Cashless, pledge for growth. It is for us, the citizen, to do our bit to ensure that our economy continues on a growth trajectory.
And that's a wrap on the news. Stay with Magic Bricks now.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.